My name is Carman, and my mother and I started Fred's Flowers in 2024. We're here with you today to harvest some pumpkin seeds. As you can see here, we've got a huge mold spot on our pumpkin. This is a video that you wouldn't normally see because a lot of people don't know that you can actually harvest from a pumpkin that does have mold on it. Now, you are going to want to ensure that the seeds inside of this pumpkin don't have the same mildew and deterioration that you're seeing on the outside of the pumpkin, because that will cause those seeds specifically not to be viable. But other seeds that aren't affected by that yet can still be viable. So right now, and we're in zone 7A, we planted this pumpkin, as I said, last year, grew on our own farm. It was the only squash genus type plant we had in our garden. That is important if you're gonna save seeds. If you're not gonna save seeds, you don't have to worry about it. But if you're gonna save seeds, it is important because cross-pollination can occur between the same genus species of plant. So if you end up planting them within a half mile of each other, then you could get cross-pollination in an open field, which is gonna cause your next year pumpkins from the seeds we're saving now to not have the characteristics you want them to. So this was one of our largest pumpkins we got out of our field. Whenever you're doing this, just ensure you're picking the cream of the crop, you know, your best one that's showing the best characteristics. You're more likely to get the same results later. So we're gonna start here by just getting the ring of our pumpkin cut off. We're gonna keep cutting all the way around our pumpkin, keeping that knife low. Alrighty, so now, as you can see, we've got our pumpkin open, our seeds exposed. Actually, I had one on our knife there. I'm gonna get that. And in here, as you can see, there is no mold on the inside of our pumpkin, not down here at the bottom. These seeds seem to be looking pretty nice right now. And we are just gonna use our hands to scrape out all of the seeds on the interior of this pumpkin. It'll be a little safer than using a spoon or anything like that. Since our pumpkin is older, we don't wanna damage any of our seeds during this process since we're gonna be planting them. So I'm gonna start with this bottom here. I'm gonna go ahead and detach it. And I'm gonna get my plate. All right. Set this part to the side just a little bit while I work on the bottom part here. Just sticking together pretty good. And I'm just gonna scrape this bottom here. Try not to pull too much of the flesh off, but ensuring I get all of the seeds out of that flesh as I do this process. Now we're not gonna be worried about these smaller seeds. As you can see, that seed is hollow. That's not gonna be a viable seed. And we are, as we do our cleaning process and our pulling out process, we're gonna be kind of inspecting these seeds just to make sure that there is no mildew spots, discoloration, hollowness whenever you press on them. Because if there is, then those seeds specifically will not be viable. So we're gonna take these seeds we've gotten so far, go ahead and just dump them into our colander because the water will do the majority of the work for getting the flesh off of those seeds. Now, getting all of the flesh off of those seeds is going to be highly important to do. You want to ensure that no moisture, once we're done with the drying process, is left on these seeds. We have gotten all the viable seeds out of this pumpkin. Trying to get as little flesh as possible there. And we are gonna have quite a bit of flesh that will the majority of the way come off in the water whenever we are using that to strain our seeds. I am gonna walk over to our water source and get the process rolling of cleaning off these seeds. Our water source, as I did say earlier, is outside. All right, So we're gonna use this hose. I'm gonna have our videographer here, lovely mother. All right. So you just kind of want those seeds to move around. You're gonna stick your hand down in there and try to get that flesh to separate, which usually happens pretty easily and pretty quickly, especially down in these colanders. Kind of like to agitate the water around a little bit in there with them, helps loosen them up. Blast in your hand. Oh, do you see that discolored seed there? It's probably not a good seed. We'll have to run back through there. All right. Now, as you can see, we've gotten the majority of those fleshy bits off of these seeds. You're not seeing much orange going around anymore. We've got discolored seed. As you can see, that seed looks very different from those really white seeds. All right, so now we're just gonna lay these seeds out to dry. While we're doing this process, we do wanna make sure that we're still checking these seeds for any discoloration, any moldy spots, mildewed spots, kind of like what was on the outside of our pumpkin earlier. Discoloration can be a sign that mildew or mold has already started to set in with these seeds. So you just want to go ahead and get those out. Might as well throw them away. They're not going to be viable most likely anyways. And you want to make sure what you're harvesting, you have the best likelihood. See, this seed's looking a little weird. When you pick it up, you can feel how hollow it is. It's very thin. So we're going to go ahead and discard that one and spread out our piles. We want to discard any chunks of flesh that we're seeing left. This seed here, as you can see, it's split. We're going to go ahead and get rid of that one as it won't be viable by next season. So I'm going to pick that one up here. We're going to spread out our next pile. You want to make sure that you're spreading these seeds into a single layer on your napkin. That'll avoid you having to turn them or ensure that the bottom ones are getting enough aeration. It's really not much napkin space here, as you can see. For one pumpkin, I'm using maybe 4 or 5 napkins from a roll. Napkins obviously just help soak up that moisture off that seed a little quicker. And another note, when you do go to store these, so we're going to be drying these actually for approximately 3 to 4 weeks. So this is what our finished product looks like. These are seeds we harvested from one pumpkin from our 2024 season. We did harvest one other pumpkin this year. That leaves us with about 700 seeds total, approximately 350 seeds per pumpkin. Now we will be leaving these in a cool, dry place for 3 to 4 weeks. I did mention a little bit about that earlier. That is to ensure that the seeds completely dry out. The number one problem that we can see with seed harvesting is that moisture is left within that seed because you cannot tell from the outside. They're going to look dry long before they're actually ready. So we do want to just make sure we're overdoing that time limit a little bit, because it's never going to hurt to leave them out longer. It's only going to hurt to leave them out shorter. And do remember, if you do not have enough space to lay them in a single layer, you are going to need to make sure you're coming back to this and turning that pile to make sure your bottom ones come to the top so that they get the same amount of air as your top ones did at the beginning. We hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.